Okay, this is how to add a business to the business directory. When we start out, we are going to need just two things. We are going to need a photo of the business, and I'm going to bring up my raw photo in Photoshop. I need to do a couple of things to this photo. First of all, I need to crop it to the correct aspect ratio, and most other image editors have this feature. In the case of Photoshop, I choose the selection tool, I choose fixed aspect ratio, and we need 600 by 350. At that point, I select, and using my arrow keys, I can move the selection down a little, sort of center the image in that area, and then I go up to image and choose crop. So now I have a photo that's the correct height to width ratio. The next thing I need to do though is make it exactly 600 pixels by 350 pixels. To do that in Photoshop, we go to image and image size. Right now the width is 900. I plug in 600 and that automatically brings the height also down to the correct number. And then I click OK. This photo was oversized, so it got a little bit smaller. Some photos you're going to receive are going to be smaller than 600, and your photo editing program will have to enlarge those. That's going to create a little bit of a loss of image quality, so always request the largest photo you can get. Finally, we have to save the photo. I'm going to choose a save as, that way I don't write over my original photo. And I keep all the photos for each portion of the website in its own folder. So in my case, I've got a folder named Businesses 600 by 350. So that's where I'm going to put the image. The image name cannot contain any spaces. Capitalization is fine. You want to make sure the format is JPEG. And after I click Save, it's going to ask me for some JPEG options. The big one here is the compression, which is usually a slider or a scale, or sometimes it's just low, medium, or high. For web work, you want to keep it near the middle or slightly above the middle. So in this case, I want a quality of about 5 or 6. Baseline and optimized are fine. I tend to avoid progressive, so I usually leave it on optimized. That'll make the file a little bit smaller. Go ahead and click OK. I've now saved the file. I'm going to go ahead and close out of Photoshop. The other item that you need to have ahead of time is the text for the business. What I've done here is I've taken what was on the customer's form and I've plugged it all into just a notepad. A very simple text editor. Notice I have done double carriage returns in the places where I might want them. Other than that, I've kind of tried to use a standard layout here where we start with the text, then we move on to the address, the phone, and the other website and email addresses. Okay, now we switch to the CMS. In your web browser, you want to open the website itself in one tab, and in the other tab, you point your browser to purelewiston.com/administrator. It will ask you for your login, and then you will land in the administrative side of the CMS, or the content management system. Here, we need to start by uploading the photo. To do that, you go to the Content menu and go to Media Manager. In the Media Manager, I always switch over to Detail View. I just think it looks a little better. This way I can read my information easier. And again, I have a folder here on the website also named Business 600 by 350. I'll go ahead and click on that folder and it will show me what's already in the folder. To upload a new photo into this folder, I simply click Upload. On this screen, I click Choose Files. That gives me a little browse window, and this is showing me files on my computer, not on the website. So again, I find my local folder named Business 600 by 350. I select the file that I want, or I can hold down the Control key and select more than one file to upload at once. Right now, all we need is T Lake Resort, so I will click Open on that file. Now it's getting ready to upload T Lake Resort. All I have to do is click Start Upload. These files are reasonably small, so it shouldn't take long to upload them. Now it's added that file. So we've got our file. Next thing we do is the category. You probably already have the category you need because I've added all the ones that are planned. However, you may in the future want to add other categories. To see your category list, you go to Components, K2, and Categories. This brings up a list of all categories in the system, not just businesses, but other things. For instance, my activities system was up here, and in the future there will be more categories. The businesses category has child categories, one for each business type. So you want to make sure you have the one you want here. If you don't, you click New. On the new category page, you give the category a name. I'll just call it Test. Leave the alias blank. For the parent category, you want to make sure that its parent is businesses. And you also want to make sure that it inherits its parameters from businesses. That will save you a lot of time setting up a bunch of the specialized information seen over here on the right. Everything else up here stays the same, other than you can add a simple description. What types of businesses might be in this category you could list here. Truth is, the user of the website will never see this information. It's more for our own reference. Once we're done, notice the green button says Save, but I also have Save and Close or Save and New. If I click Save, it's going to leave me in this screen. However, I know that I'm done, so I'm going to click Save and Close. That should take me back to the category list. There's my test category. While I'm here, I'll tell you how to delete a category. To do that, you simply click the selection box next to the category and then click Trash. It's giving me a warning, which is actually kind of important. If I delete a category that has items in it, that is to say that it has businesses attributed to that category, you're going to lose those business pages as well. So never delete a category unless it's empty. Move all the businesses over into another category first and then delete the category. Okay. Once you know you have the right category, then it's time for adding the item itself. To do this, you go to Content. I'm sorry, I misspoke. You go to Components, K2, Items. Items is synonymous with articles. Joomla refers to them as articles. The K2 management system refers to them as items. Either way, you should think of an item as an individual page, like an individual page for a business or an individual page for an activity or other things. Now, this is my full item list, so I'm seeing both businesses and activities right now. If I want to look for an item, I can type in something here and say go. For instance, I could type the word Kirtland, and any item that contains the word Kirtland would pop up. Or I can filter the list down. Under Select Category, I can choose Businesses, and that will limit down the list to just items that are in the businesses category or one of its subcategories, one of its child categories. In any event, what we really want to do here is add. So we are going to click New, and that will bring up a new item screen. Here we give it a title, which is simply the name of the business. And this is what will appear at the top of that business's page. The alias we leave blank. The system will take care of that for us. The category we have to always be careful to set, and you'll never set a business just to businesses. You'll always choose one of the child categories. Everything else here remains the same. Tags are blank. It is not featured, but it is published. Incidentally, published is handy. If I want to remove a business very easily, I just go in and say it's not published. It disappears from the website even though I could still get it back again later on. Then we move down to the actual text of the article or of the item, and that's done down in this text editor here. First thing we want to do is bring in the text from our word processor. So I'm going to open my word processor here. I'm going to select all of the text. I could do this by dragging through it or by going to Edit and Select All. Then I'm going to copy it into the clipboard. I can do this by pressing Control C on the keyboard or by going to Edit and Copy. And then I'm going to jump back over to the text editor, drop my cursor in, and curiously enough, sometimes you don't see the cursor, but if you click in the white area, it is there. And then I'm going to look for the Paste as Plain Text button. Notice there are a lot of buttons up here, but they have tooltips. If I hover over a button for a moment, I get a little piece of text telling me what it does. And it's important that we paste as plain text. We don't want to bring over any formatting from the word processor because that'll mess with the styling system in the in the CMS. So when I click paste as plain text, it brings up a smaller window. And then oddly enough here, I actually paste. I press Control V on the keyboard, and that drops in all of the text that I had placed in the clipboard. I could make edits to it in this screen, but there's really no need to because we'll be able to do that as soon as we insert it. Go ahead and click Insert. Here we have our text. Again, I can make changes to the text, simple text changes if I want to. I can even do things like select text, make them bold, italic, underline. All of the things that you would see in a normal text editor you'll have up here at your disposal, including a spell check, which is vital. Next thing we need to do is take care of the hyperlinks. We have email and website addresses down here, but it's not going to treat them as such. That is to say, it's not going to let me click on those website addresses and actually take me to those websites. So we've got to add that functionality. To do that, you select, we'll start with the website addresses. You select an address, and then you go up here and you click on Insert or Edit Link. That brings up a smaller window. It picked up on the text that I had selected, but we have to tell it that that's also the URL or the actual address. The easy way to do that is to select this text, press Control C to copy it into the clipboard, drop our cursor in for URL, press Control V for paste, and we've just duplicated it up here. So now when I click on that piece of text, it will actually take me to that website address. The other thing we need to do is make sure that it opens in a separate window. We want new website addresses to open in a different window so that the original Pure Lewiston website won't go away. We want people to be able to come back to the website at their leisure. To do that, you set the target to New Window. Once that's done, you're done here, so go ahead and click Insert. And it's asking me if I want to add the http:// prefix. That's nice of it to do. So we'll go ahead and say yes. And notice all it really did was it added an underline to that text, but now when somebody clicks on it on the website, it will actually open their website address. I'm going to have to go ahead and repeat that process for the other websites. So again, select, insert link. Now notice it's remembering the old website address. Joomla tends to remember things that you've entered in boxes before, and sometimes it creates the wrong information as a result. So again, I select the lower box, Control C to copy, select the upper, Control V to paste. Make sure the target is set to open in a new window. And also the insert button is now an update button. Either or, that's the correct button. Do that, add my prefix, we're done. Again, we will repeat for Twitter. Insert link. Duplicate the lower box into the upper box. Update. Do the same here. Insert link. Duplicate. New window. Update. Add the prefix. Email addresses are just a little bit different. For an email address, you again select the address, choose the insert link button. Here, though, you leave the text how it is, but you click the email button over in the upper right corner. For the to, you put the actual address, which I could have copied and pasted. I leave CC and BCC blank, and for the subject, I've just been putting inquiry from purelewiston.com. So when Dave gets the email, that's what he's going to see as the subject line, which is a nice reminder of where he got that email traffic. Go ahead and say OK. And that changes the URL line to what it needs to say. Again, make sure it's going to open in a new window and click Update. Now we've got underlines for all of our web links, so we're good to go there. Next thing we need to do is insert the in-article photo. There's a photo that appears in the article, and then separately there's another photo that appears as the thumbnail in the business directory, the very small photo, and they can actually be different. Usually they're going to be the exact same photo. So the in-article photo, we drop our cursor at the very beginning of the first line, and then we choose Insert Edit Image. Go ahead and click on that. First thing we need to do is find the image. On the left pane, make sure you're in the Business 600 by 350 folder. Go ahead and click once on the photo that you want. It's going to show you a little preview of the photo here so you can make sure you have the right one. Next thing we do is we set the alignment. We want the alignment to be set to right. That'll move the image over to the right side of the page. Next thing we need to do is set a little bit of a margin. The margin keeps the text back away from the picture. I'm going to go 15 pixels, and I'm going to leave it set to equal value. That'll give it 15 pixels all the way around the photo. And finally, I've been doing a border. Go ahead and click on the checkbox for the borders. Make sure the width is set to just 1 pixel. Style of line is solid, and the color is all zeros, which is perfect black. Once you've set all this, you go ahead and click Insert, and the photo appears. This is just a rough preview of what it's going to look like, but do notice that it's got the setback, it's got the border around the edge, and it is moved over to the right-hand side. The next thing we have to do is choose what I'm calling the thumbnail image. This is just a generic image associated with this item that will be used in the gallery when people are selecting the directory where people are selecting different businesses to look at. If you don't have a photo for the image or for the business, you're obviously not going to be able to put a photo in here, and that might be the case with a few. But we still need a thumbnail photo. So what you do is you click on the Image tab up here, and I could choose File, but that's going to upload it off my computer. Instead, I want to browse the server since I've already uploaded the photo. So I click Browse. This is a slightly different selection page, but it works the same way. I make sure I'm in the Businesses 600 by 350 folder. I click once on the correct image, or if it's a business that doesn't have a photo, I've created a generic looking photo named blank. We would want to choose that instead. Once I've selected it, I need to insert it, and that is the Select Files button, which is this little guy here. The other little secret is I can simply double click on this photo to select it. I don't see a photo, but I do see in the box here that it's referencing the photos. It's looking under Images, Businesses, T-Lake. So I should be good to go. Now if I want to go back and work on the content some more, I can click at the Content tab. That takes me back here. I can continue to make changes here if I want. It's always open for text changes. But beyond that, I should be good to go. Now, the final step is to make sure everything's correct, and we do that by proofing it right on the website. So instead of save and close, I'm going to just choose save. Now down here on my status bar, it says waiting, and it'll only say it for a moment. Right now it's updating the database on the server with this new information. Then it drops me right back in the same screen. What I do at this point is I switch over to the other tab where I'm seeing the actual website. I go to the businesses page, or if I'm already there, I have to refresh to bring in the new information. Your browser should have a refresh button or reload. Sometimes you can simply hit F5 if you don't have that button. When I go to the businesses page, initially it's going to show all businesses, so it should show up in the initial list. But I also want to make sure that it's in the correct category. So under filter by category, I'll choose the category that he belongs in and make sure he still shows up. So we're good to go there. And now I can either click on the link button on his image, or I can click on the title, and that should take me to his actual page. Here I just want to make sure that the picture looks correct, that it's positioned correctly, make sure the text all looks correct. And finally, I should test out each one of these hyperlinks. If I simply click on one, it should open in a new tab. Once I see that it appears, I'll close it. I'll repeat for the others. And this is one error that I was afraid would occur. We forgot the www in front of twitter.com, so we're going to have to go back and fix that. That's probably why we're getting the 404 there. So lesson learned. Go ahead and test the others while I have a chance. This is a slower site, but it does look like it's coming up. Yep. Finally, their Facebook. Be careful with Facebook pages. Sometimes it's a shortened URL like this one, just T Lake Resort. Sometimes it's followed with by a very long number. It depends upon whether they've talked to Facebook and gotten themselves a shortened name or not. So. Now finally, the email link is a little bit different. The email link will open in the computer's default email program, and that will vary from one computer to another. Some computers don't have a default email program, but virtually most do, and occasionally it's set to the wrong one. Anyway, when I click on this link, since Gmail is my default, it will open Gmail and it will create a brand new message. It's already pre-addressed to the correct person. It has the subject line that we had put in. All I would have to do is type my email and click send, and it will go off to that address. So the page is good to go other than my little problem with Twitter. So what I'm going to have to do is jump over back into the administrative side. And here I'm going to go down, and first thing I'm going to do is unlink it. I'm going to select the address, and next to the link button we have unlink. That will strip out the hyperlink that we'd added before. And now I'm going to add the www, and I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to relink it. Again, we copy from the lower box into the upper box so they match. Make sure it's going to be a new window. Click Update. It's asking to add the HTTP. That's a good sign. I'll say yes. And now it is, again, a hyperlink. Finally, I need to test that. To test, we start by saving on the CMS side. And it just takes a moment to save. You wait for the time indicator to finish. Then we switch back over to the website itself and we reload this page. That's going to update it from the server. And now we go ahead and try out the Twitter link. This time it opens correctly, so we have fixed the problem. At this point, we are done with this particular business. I'll jump back over to the CMS side. If that's all I have to do, I will click Save and Close. If I want to start another one, and I've already uploaded the images, I can go ahead and click Save and New, and that'll bring me a brand new form again. That's all I have.